Okay, getting a start to the week here. Let's visit CSSBattle.dev and do the daily target. is this Aku from what's the show? I can't remember the show. Oh, where's my brain? Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack. It's just vaguely reminiscent of Aku, but not quite. Could also be, I don't know, black cactus. All right, let's go blank template, which is a paragraph tag as the main figure, and then the rest of it is a background. And I think what I'm looking at is a border of solid, and is it pure black? No, pure black would be pound 0000000, and this is pound 010201. So let's go ahead and copy that, and then you get a default border, and that's that default border of 2 pixels, and we want a border width value that's going to be 0 on the top. And so if we do 4 numbers, 1 2 3 4, or better 10 20 30 40, you get a border like that. If you do 3 numbers, 10 50 90, you get a border like that, let's say, right? So that's the top and then the sides and the bottom. So we need 3 numbers to do this one. We need a 0 and then probably 20 20. That's how we get that shape right there. And I'm going to put that border or the margins on this. So now I'm going to push that down. So let's push this down. Ready? Here we go. Oh, and let's put the proper red on here. We see that weird gray. That's because the difference between pure red, which is what pound FF0000, and this D9 4E4E, just slightly different. You can see kind of the pattern there. We get the solid black with the diff. Okay, 6 7 8 130 40 50 60. Great. How about 50, 40, 42? No, 35. No, 37. There it is. And let's make this a little tall, a little wider on the borders here, huh? Maybe 30. And then we're too tall. How about 10? 2, 3, 4. That looks like it's going to do what I want. So that bottom border needs to be 30, and there it is. So that's our start. We don't need a background on this. We just need to see back into the thing. All right, now next step. How about a radial gradient? Radial gradient is up top, and this one, let's call it circle transparent, and then this yellow, and then transparent. All right, so that's what we get by default. I'm going to put this color just sitting here in the background, and that's really the background color. You could use it. I could do background dash color and set it, but instead we do that. So let's do an at of 50% 0. Now it's a mess. It looks like everything's on fire, but actually we can measure. We can go from here, which is like 103, something like that, and then to here, which is like 200. So it's like 90-ish, 0, and then how about 120 pixels, and then 0. And is that the thing? It's close. How about 95? 95 is correct, and then 125. So if I remove that red, then the next step, and for me, it inevitably is the conic gradient, which is again my favorite of the gradients. That is red all the way 75% around, or 270 degrees worth, and then we get that color there, like so. And then this is going to have an at value. So we want that. We want to move the center. Right now we've got it. Right. We've got this sequence that's 270 degrees of red, and then if we add colors, you can kind of see what's going on with the color stops there. But the center is right in the center of the body, and the reason it's down here is because this has a margin that's pushing everything down. So if I do 0, that moves the center. You see how, so that, because of the margins, which are invisible on that paragraph tag, the center of the body gets pushed down because it's taller. It has to be to accommodate the thing. But we don't care about that really, and so we're not going to bother with that. Or are we? Or do we need to account for that? Either way, I believe that the next thing we need to do is set an at. So at, where are we going to measure? I was going to try and measure. So from 150 to 250, so it's 100 pixels over. So that makes it less wide, right? And then what if I push it down? Probably I can set just that one value and be good enough, because if I push this down with the background position, so we'll push it over first, 150 pixels, let's say, and then down 200 pixels, maybe 100 pixels, 110, 100, 110. That might do it. Let's submit. So I'm not setting a background size. We're using the default, which is the containing body, which is, in this case, is probably taller than it needs to be. But we've got wiggle room here. If I set this as 0, add a character, then you see that changes things a little bit. But I don't think that's better. Now, the one thing that's not correct, that's not the right word. The one thing that we rely on in CSS Battle is that even if the body gets stretched taller, we don't see a scroll bar. Effectively, there is the scroll bar is hidden, which, you know, there obviously are interfaces where scroll bars don't appear unless you are actually interacting with them. In this case, we can't interact with these screens over here. They're just, you know, they're headless. They're part of a headless Chromium browser. I don't really care about any of that, but I'm thinking about, should there be a scroll bar? In this case, yes, there should be, but we don't see it. It's not part of the game. So we minify and unit replace. I think we already saw that we got to 100%, which is great. And we got you know, a nice value there. And we get, you know, we can nip and tuck a little bit. I think I already did unit replacement, so we get a 50 BH, which is nice. A nicety. Solid. We can collapse the space between the word solid and the hash mark. Other than that, I don't have any strong opinions about changing these things. Lots of tuning could be done. And you could make a lot of these figures not with gradients. You could make individual figures of a bunch of these things, and that would be another way to do these things. Anyway, that's enough. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're taking care of yourself, take care of each other. Go make a web page. Everybody's got web browsers. Like, there's web browsers all over the place. There are refrigerators, as I understand it, with web browsers. There are televisions with web browsers. There are cars with web browsers. It's kind of bonkers, but mostly we're walking around with phones and they have web browsers, and that's pretty cool. All right, get out of here. See you tomorrow.